All right, I'm going to create a setting for this flat bottom stone, and this setting is called a bezel setting. And to create a bezel cup, you're going to need some of this bezel wire. And we've got this flat bezel wire, there's also this scalloped bezel wire, and there's this tiny little amount of this sawtooth bezel wire. And you're going to want to cut the length that corresponds with the perimeter of the stone. The bezel length has to be exact and it has to be flush. Now to get the length of it, you could take like a sticky note and wrap it around your stone and get the length that way. But you don't want to, you want to overshoot the length just a little bit so that you can file down if necessary, but you don't want to overshoot it too much because bezel wire is 99.9% sterling silver, so you don't want a lot of silver waste. So yeah, so I've already cut this piece of bezel wire to the perimeter of this stone, and I'm going to solder the ends together just like I did with a band. So I'm going to use butt soldering. Now this wire is really malleable and it's very soft. So, you know, it's going to be a little bit trickier to kind of lay flat on this stone. So I'm going to maybe use my third hand for this. You do want the ends to be flush, all right, so that you can have that good join. And I'm going to kind of pull this back to create some tension so that when they come back together, they're flush. I'm going to use my flat pliers to kind of make that happen. All right, now I'm going to check that seam in the light so there is no light peeping through. And there's a tiny bit of light peeping through. So I'm going to file anything that I need away. Okay, I'm going to create, again, some tension on that join right there. I'm going to check the light. I'm going to move it around just a little bit just to see if I can determine what I might need to file off. Okay, now I've readjusted it, no lights coming through. So I'm gonna set that seam. Actually, I'm gonna use my third hand to keep that seam in place because this is very light wire. So if I don't have that third hand, it's going to tip over. All right, I'm gonna flux that joint. And I think for this, I'm going to use hard solder because I'm going to be soldering this onto a back plate. So that's going to be a second soldering operation. And if I wanted to make it into a ring, I'd be soldering that bezel cup onto a ring shank. So that's my third one. So if you are making a bezeled ring, you're going to want to start with hard because this melting point is higher than medium and easy. So you want to, again, you got to think about that soldering schedule as part of your design. And one piece of solder should do it. I'm going to put these to the side because these are plastic. Plastic will melt from some of this residual heat. Right, now I'm going to go around and around. This is going to go relatively fast because this is very thin wire. I'm just going to watch for that to flash and flow, and it's already starting to go. All right, I'm going to put this in my quenching bowl. And then in my pickle, just to clean it up just a little bit, I'm going to dry it off on my shirt, because of course I am. And I'm going to check my join. Okay. Now there's some residual solder in here. And I'm going to make sure to use my files to get rid of that, because I'm setting a stone in here, and if there's any like chunky solder that's left over, it's going to affect the way that that stone is set. All right, now that crease right there can be filed and polished out. All right. All right, so I have got a very misshapen bezel. Here's my stone, and here's the moment of truth. And it fits, snug as a bug in a rug. All right. Now I'm going to kind of mush this around my stone just to get that sizing. So I'm going to attach this bezel ring right here to a back plate. And I'm just going to use a piece of copper that I have cleaned and pickled. I'm going to move this over here. And then I'm going to solder this onto the back plate. I would use medium solder. Now I have to make sure that this is flush with my back plate. So if I look around the inside of my bezel cup, if I see any light peeping through, I gotta make sure that that is not the case. So what I'm gonna do is grab this mallet and really lightly tap this down. I'm actually gonna do that on the surface of my desk here. What I could also do to make sure that this is flat is to get some emery paper action on the end of that. That seemed to have done the trick there. Okay. All right, I'm checking all the way around, and there's no light coming through this edge. So I'm going to prep this for soldering. Now what I'm going to do is flux the interior, and I'm going to place pallions maybe about 1/4 of an inch apart all the way around. All right, so I placed all my pallions around the inside perimeter of this bezel wire, and I tried to not move this too much because I don't want to move this around and alter the shape of this, because again, that's custom fit there. All right, so this wire is considerably thinner than this back plate. So when I get the heat on it, I'm going to make sure that my heat is focused on that back plate. You can kind of see that flux is cooking there. I don't want to put my flame on that sterling silver. Because I don't want to melt it or have it pit. Again, I want my copper to be hot. It's not going to take much for that silver to be hot. So I'm really going to focus my flame and my heat onto that back plate. Should probably kind of focus on this side right here. Right. I feel like this is gonna go. There's that flash that I want. Alright. I'm just going to put some even heat on here just to kind of like even that out. Push that around the perimeter of this. Right, this hasn't really flowed enough for me. Okay. Looks like all my pallions went. Alright, so I'm going to take my heat off of it. Now, if I would have used easy solder or even medium, I would have run the risk of reheating that join, alright, and breaking it. So that's why we use these different temperatures of solder. I'm just going to let that chill for a sec. Looks like a good joint. It looks like my solder flowed along the perimeter because that solder is going to follow the flux. All right, here's the moment of truth in the quenching bath. All right, yay, it didn't come apart. All right, I have successfully soldered together a bezel cup. All right, now as far as where to go from here, I can cut this all the way to the, just like a little bit to the edge right here. Or if this is a pendant, I could cut like an interesting shape around this. So again, it all kind of depends on how your design is. But this definitely needs to get cleaned up. We have a lot of fire scale. We've got some chunky solder all up in this bezel cup. What you don't want to do is drop your stone in there because you're not going to be able to get it out. Okay, dropping the stone in there is going to be one of the very last things that you do. All right. There is a trick though, if you really, really want to see, is you would put a piece of dental floss that laying across here, and you would drop this in, see if it fits, and then just that dental floss, just by lifting it up, you can pop out that stone if you're really, really desperate to see. But if you don't, like I did for this one, that's going to be stuck in there forever. Well, not forever, just until I cut my metal. But I can't really solder this onto like a ring shank or something like that because my stone's in it and that stone's going to crack. So this is how you make a bezel cup.